we doing, everybody? Today's video, we're gonna go into a nice little routine for lower back pain. So especially right now, we're stuck at home, we're in quarantine. It's probably normal to catch some lower back pain from time to time, whether you've been sitting all day, maybe even your workouts are making you have a little bit of that lower back pain. Whatever it is, it's something we all deal with. So today I got 3 moves for you, or 3 stretches, that should help alleviate some of that lower back pain and even really hope to address some of the underlying causes of that pain and some of the compensatory patterns you might be dealing with that's causing you to have that pain. So our first one is going to be a legs up the wall drill. It's going to be similar to something you might see in yoga, but instead of being a passive drill, we're going to add a little bit of an active lift to it. So we're going to lay nice and close to the wall. I'm going to flip my legs up. And you don't have to be completely butt to wall, probably just like 6 inches away is perfect. I'm gonna get my legs as straight as I can. If you're limited on flexibility, just wiggle back a little bit. It can be like a foot away from the wall. I don't need a perfect vertical line. And then once you're ready, our goal and our intention during this drill is to get the tailbone off the ground, posteriorly tuck our tailbone or our pelvis, or scoop it underneath, and then to get our hamstrings working as well, and then get proper respiratory pattern or proper breathing, okay? So once I'm here, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to slide my feet up the wall just about an inch. If I can slide my feet up an inch, I'm gonna get that little tuck. My tailbone's gonna lift off the ground. I'm actually gonna feel a little bit more pressure throughout my kind of mid-lumbar to thoracic spine, okay? So once I'm in this position, I feel my hamstrings engage. It automatically somewhat internally rotates my rib cage and kind of brings me out of extension and into flexion, which is where we want to be for this respiratory breathing drill here. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to inhale through my nose and exhale out my mouth. So as we're breathing, when you inhale, I want you to feel that inhale in your mid back. So already we got some pressure there, which is going to really help you sense the ground. And every time I inhale, I'm thinking about breathing down into the floor, expanding my back down and out into the ground. And every time I exhale, I'm gonna blow out my mouth. I'm gonna think about sending my rib cage down towards my pelvis. And as I hit that exhale, I want a full exhale. So as I go out, don't just, I wanna see a long, controlled exhale, and you get every piece of air that's inside of you out, and get that full exhale, and that's gonna really help you internally rotate those lower ribs. So again, tuck the pelvis, full inhale, breathe into the ground, feel the floor, sense the floor as you inhale, and exhale, push it down. I wanna see 5 to 10 breaths in this position, and then you can rest. You'll notice again, you're gonna feel those hamstrings burning. That's awesome. We're gonna get that nice stretch on that lumbar spine, and we're gonna get a really nice breathing pattern going. So that's the first one, legs up the wall. Second one is gonna be somewhat of a pigeon position or a pigeon stretch for the outside of the hip, for those tight glutes. Just a little bit different. There's a couple little small things we'll get in the mix here. So we'll start in a tabletop. All you're gonna do, whatever leg you wanna work, we're gonna bring that knee towards the wrist, and then we're gonna pivot that foot open or into a 45-degree angle. So once you're in that 45-degree angle, I want you to come down to the elbows. From the elbows, we're gonna round our back a little bit. So we have a little bit of flexion going on. And then the first thing I wanna do is I wanna make sure this back knee isn't out to the side. I wanna walk it to the midline. So I'm gonna kind of walk over, so that that knee is directly in the middle of my mat or directly in the middle of my body. Once I'm midline, then I can start to walk that knee backwards. As I go back, I'm gonna start to get a deeper stretch. So again, make sure that knee is not out to the side. I wanna walk that knee to the midline, and then I wanna make sure that this hip is rolling towards the floor, the hip that's not getting stretched. That's gonna square my hips to the floor. I'm rounded, I'm pushing into the ground with the forearms, and I'm getting a nice butt stretch, okay? If you want even more, you might grab onto this guy, move him up a little bit, increase that angle, and again, I'm walking back, I'm walking in, I'm finding that nice stretch on the outside of the hip. Rolling to the side, letting the hip open, this isn't gonna do you any good. You're gonna miss out on that real deep stretch. And again, it's just gonna be kind of superficial, just trying to get into that folded position. I don't care about you folding, I just care about getting a really good stretch on the outside of the hip. So we have that one again. We'll hold for about 5 to 10 breaths. Right side, 5 to 10 breaths. Left side, and then we'll move into our last one. So this last one, again, we're gonna be stretching the hip. We're gonna be stretching a little bit more glute med a little higher in the butt, and this one's really gonna help encourage internal rotation of the hip. A lot of the time, internal rotation is something that's huge in most people. As a deficit, it's lacking, we don't have a ton of it, and because of that, we have poor extension of the hip, running, walking, jogging, lifting, all these things. We end up with a compensatory pattern, or we struggle during those movements because we lack that internal rotation. So this is an amazing stretch for you to do while, sorry, my battery's about to die. It's an amazing stretch for you to do prior to lifting to regain some internal rotation so you have proper body mechanics. So this one's gonna look a little bit like a pretzel. From the side, you can start with both knees side by side. I'm gonna take one, I'm gonna reach back, and I'm gonna put it behind the other. And the one that's in the front is gonna end up flaring out at about 45 degrees. The one that's in the back is going straight back. Once I'm here, I can stay in this tabletop. I'm gonna slightly tuck and round. And then all I'm gonna do is gonna push my hips back, okay? This front knee might wanna lift off the ground. I want you to actively push it down into external rotation. That's gonna help us with this right side. The right side is going to adduct a little bit. And if you want, you might even put it in slight internal rotation by moving that back foot slightly outward, okay? So from here, I'm pushing back. To make this more intense, not only am I gonna push back, but I'm gonna shift over towards the side I wanna stretch. I find that if you can't find the stretch, oftentimes this shift to the side makes a huge difference, and all of a sudden I got this huge stretch going on right in the back of my hip capsule. So just so you can see that from the front, if I'm here, I take my foot behind. Again, notice this front one's at a nice 45-degree angle. I'm going to push back and then slightly over towards the side I'm trying to stretch. So I go back, over, and then as always, once we find our position, we're going to breathe in the nose, out the mouth. And we're just gonna continue to breathe and really open up that posterior hip capsule. And you might notice that when you're done, that hip moves a little better. You have a little better internal rotation after the pigeon, a little better external, just overall more space in the hip capsule, which is gonna leave you with more movement variability and better options and better movement while you're exercising. So 3 movements, just to recap. We had our legs up the wall. Everything's 5 to 10 breaths. We got the posterior tuck. We're thinking about inhaling into our back in the floor, keeping the rib cage down. Then we have our pigeon or half pigeon. We're not looking to go flat. I want you to stay up. I just want to more focus on that back leg, staying in the middle of your body, and then you can slowly work it back with that external rotation. And then finally, we have the one we just did, the little pretzel stretch for that posterior capsule. We're gonna be again taking 5 to 10 breaths on each side. So this is a great little combination or circuit for you to do. You can do this if you have low back pain. You can do this if you don't have low back pain, but you wanna loosen up the hips and the low back before a workout. You can do this before a workout, during a workout, after a workout, 2 times a day, 5 times a day, 1,000,000 times a day. This is a great thing to just add frequently into your routine. I know we're all trapped at home right now, so no excuses. Let's make sure we try these movements out. You might realize you like one more than another, or one really helps and you do that one a lot more. It's up to you. So if you feel like any of those things apply, give this a shot. Reach out to me, let me know how it goes. If you can't find the stretch and you don't understand one of the movements, reach out, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to help. And other than that, give it a shot. Let me know how it goes, and happy quarantine.